Oh boy, Charlotte Flair has caused more controversy in this video. I'm going to tell you exactly what she did, what she said, and you know what? I'm on the fence. I don't know if I agree with her or not. Now look, Charlotte Flair, she is back after being sidelined since December 2023 with a torn ACL, MCL, and a meniscus in the SmackDown match with Asuka. Well, she is back because Charlotte Flair came back and won the Women's Royal Rumble match. Now, since then, she has appeared on the February 3rd episode of Monday Night Raw doing a segment with Women's World Champion Rhea Ripley, where Rhea told Flair to make her pick, but Flair said, you know what, not really interested in that. So I'm going to go to NXT, and I'm going to go to SmackDown. I'm going to weigh my options. And so, fast forward, February 4th, episode of NXT, she confronts NXT Women's Champion Julia. She has a segment with former NXT Women's Champion Roxanne Perez, as well as former fellow NXT Champion Bayley. Very interesting stuff, and now she's going to go to SmackDown and talk with Tiffany Stratton. Now, I had previously discussed how Charlotte Flair is not going to wait until the night of WrestleMania, right? She's going to just make everyone wait before she makes her decision as to who she's going to challenge at WrestleMania. That's not going to happen, right? We have 2.5 months or so before WrestleMania. I think she's going to pick Tiffany Stratton. I think that's the match you go with. But we'll see. And this is not the point of today's video, but like, she is controversial just in general, just to kind of set up what we're talking about today, because I think what she said was very interesting. When it comes to Charlotte Flair, she always sparks controversy, right? Some fans think she's overrated. Some fans think that her push is justifiable. I get it, because they have pushed Charlotte Flair down our throats year after year after year. She's on this record run where it's like she's won a championship every single year that she's been in WWE, or at least on the main roster. It's an outstanding, honestly, almost absurd stat. But that's just, she's the GOAT of women's wrestling, or she will at least go down as that. Trish Stratus probably holds the record there, but I digress. So, coming out of her NXT appearance, Charlotte Flair did an interview with NXT Digital. And she talked about, and this is what she had to say, so I spent a year and a half here training. All my rehab was here. My first time hitting the ropes, getting in the ring, getting familiar with girls that are on NXT. So to come back where I'm homegrown, where my first match was, where my coaches are, it's always surreal to come back, to remember your roots. They definitely gave me a warm welcome, so I was very appreciative. But I also had the opportunity to talk about Roxanne and Julia in the Women's Royal Rumble because they did an incredible job. They're not me, but they will get there. But they really did impress me. They really knocked it out of the park, and I do truly believe that NXT does have the greatest women's division in the world. I do think Raw and SmackDown, when they get there, it's going to be a different ballgame. But here is where you build the foundation, and they're killing it, so I couldn't have been more proud to give them the opportunity to say, hey, I might pick you. I might pick you. I might pick you. That's what it's all about, because I have picked an NXT Women's Champion the last time I won the Women's Royal Rumble. So who knows who I'm going to pick? It's on my terms. So I'm going to stop there. I want to preference this by stating I think she might be right. And this is the controversy. Is NXT's women's division the most loaded in all of pro wrestling? You have Roxanne Perez, you have Julia, Stephanie Valker, Zara from Australia, Cora Jade, Jada Parker, and so many more. On the main roster, you have, for Raw, you have Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Io Sky. SmackDown, you're about to get Alexa Bliss. You have Nia Jax. Well, I guess Nia Jax is technically on Raw. Bayley's now on Raw. Tiffany Stratton. Charlotte Flair, most likely. You still have a Becky Lynch coming back. Do I agree that NXT has the best women's division in the entire world? No. No, I do not. I think Julia is amazing. I think Stephanie Valkyrie is going to be a megastar. I think Roxanne Perez is going to be around for the next 10 years, maybe 15 years, and could easily surpass some of the biggest names in the history of this business. But if you look at a main women's roster, or women's division, and you look at an NXT women's division, I'm not splitting Raw and SmackDown, right? That would be weird. I think she's wrong. I don't think NXT is the greatest women's division in all of pro wrestling. I think there's a ton of talent in AEW. I think that. I would put AEW's women's division just from a talent base over NXT's. Like, as good as Julia is, and as good as Roxanne Perez is, and as good as Stephanie Valkyrie is, AEW, Toni Storm, Mariah May, Britt Baker, Mercedes Moné, Camille whenever she's used. You know what I mean? Like, you can go down the list. Willow Nightingale, Chris Statlander. There's a lot of really good talent in AEW. So I think AEW has a better women's division, a women's roster than NXT, and certainly WWE's main roster. Look, WWE's main roster women's division has never been more loaded of future Hall of Famers, legendary names in this business. That's what they've been able to do. And so if you look at it like that, then no, NXT does not have a better women's division. But to Charlotte Flair's credit, she does know how to get people talking, don't she, y'all? I mean, my Lord. They talk about Charlotte Flair no matter what. And you gotta give her props. Like, she's always in the conversation. Whenever she's used on television, obviously outside of her year-long injury, she's always talked about. There's always something, right? Because you have the supporters, you have the doubters, right? It goes back and forth. So I'm very curious to see how everything shakes out, going into WrestleMania, everything like that. But no, NXT Women's Division is not as great as the main roster. Now, when Roxanne Perez and Julia and Stephanie Valkyrie and Zarya come up to the main roster, ooh, howdy. Look out. Like, I think the women's division is loaded now. Get ready, because you're going to have some banger matches. You're going to have some great feuds. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun to follow and see where they go. But, yeah, Charlotte Flair back at it again. We'll see. We'll see what happens when she gets to mix it up with some of these stars.